Hello.
Hi again.
Welcome back.
Long time no see.
I feel like we should use that sound that's like, we're back.
Did you miss us? Because we missed you.
No, I think everyone missed you.
No, I missed you most importantly.
Can we talk about that episode?
People loved it.
People loved it.
Are we surprised?
I am not surprised because I love you and everything you say. And like, it's just
the content.
You know? But I think it made me so happy to see how many people felt seen with that episode. We have to, before we dive into today's other friendship episode, I feel like we need to talk about why do we think it resonated so much? Like, why do we think it hit so well? Aside from us being perfect. But.
Right. Aside from us being like funny, hilarious, charming girls. What else did they love? I think you said being seen, but also it's like such an integral part of life, friendship. And it's like these little nuances. I think we talked about a lot of stuff that you learn as you get older. Yeah. So it probably resonated with people of all age groups, especially women. The comments were I mean, incredible. I read through a lot of them. What'd you think?
I thought the comments were my favorite part. I think my favorite part, two things. One was happy and one wasn't so happy. My first favorite thing was how many women were sending your specific video where you're talking about female friendship and how it's like our husbands or whatever, like, you know, that one, which was the first one that really like blew up.
Right.
And seeing how many women sent that video, both on TikTok and Instagram, to their friends, that made my heart so happy because the comments were all like, this is you. This is how I feel about you. Love you. Tagging all their friends. Like, do you know what I mean? Or like sharing it to their story, being like, yeah, I would like die without my girlfriends. Like that part, I was like,
yeah. And it's so nice to be able to say it without saying it sometimes. Like when you see those videos that you're like, oh, you, and you send it to your friend, I feel like that's like so just like a little, it warms my heart when it happens to me.
That's my love language. When someone is like, noted. This meme made me think of you. Granted, most of my best friends send me the memes and they're like, haha, you. And it's like the most fucked up shit I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like,
yeah, I send you the Capricorn memes all the time. Yeah, I know.
But this one, you're right. There's nothing like you're in the middle of your day. Maybe it's 3 p.m. where like I lose all my will to live between 3 to 5 p.m. I don't know about you.
Yeah, same. I mean, it's different because I have a crazy schedule, but yeah, it's that chunk of the day.
Your 3 to 5 is probably like
11 a.m.
Right. So like now.
Yeah. It's fine. I got it. I'm good.
And like I check my IG and one of my best friends sent me something and it's like, this is how I feel about us. And I'm like, suddenly I feel alive again.
Yeah.
So that was the happy part. The part that I didn't love was how many women felt seen by the videos that maybe weren't so positive of being like, I have really high expectations in friendship. And then so many comments were like, this is how I feel, but I don't have this. Or I feel really sad because I was the one who was reaching out all the time. I just walked away from what, like those comments or seeing women be like, I wish I had this.
Yeah, there were a lot of those.
That makes me like, you know, that
heartbroken?
Yeah. Cause I'm like, I don't know where I would be if I didn't have that. So thinking that people don't have that, at least one.
Yeah.
Because all you need is one. You just need one good friend.
All you need is one. But there were a lot of those. And I think though, like the rest of the content was, I mean, almost like digestible things to help you navigate maybe finding that. And like, I don't know. It doesn't have to be, even if it's not right now, like, haven't you gone through fluctuations in life of like, okay, I have like this really incredible, like big friend group, or like now I'm just like focused on this 2-person friend group. So like when I read those, yes, it made me really sad, but I hope that at least like some of the advice that we gave was helpful. And like, I don't know, nothing lasts forever. At least that's how I survive life.
Absolutely. And I think the fluctuation thing is so real, but also I just forgot what I was going to say. Wait, I had a point. The nothing lasts forever. Oh, fuck. I had a good point.
Friend groups, big, friend groups, small, things come and go, things change, dynamics change. Like sometimes you need one friend and sometimes you need 20 friends.
I'm so pissed. I had something to say. But I think more than anything, this is what I wanted to say. See, I just needed a second. I love how validated people felt.
Yes.
Because a lot of people were like, see, I feel like I'm asking for too much in my friendship. So I'm like, you're not. You're not, because I know it's real because I experience it every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, I'm not the exception. I know a lot of people have these beautiful, deep friendships. maybe they don't have 10 of them, maybe they have one, but like it exists. So I loved seeing how many people in the videos were like, this is how I feel. This is what I want. This is exactly how I am. Like so many of the comments were like, same, preach, yes. And it's like, yeah, you're not wrong for wanting more in your friendships.
And you're not wrong for finding someone else who wants the same. Like, I think it's okay we talked about this a lot last time, of letting friends go if you can't meet them, if you each other can't meet each other where they are. Yeah. Like, but the validation, the vulnerability, all that stuff that we talked about really resonated. I'm not surprised.
I'm so happy. So we're here for more. We're here doing more. So, okay, I thought we could start this episode. I voice noted Angie when we were talking about what we wanted to talk about today. And I told her, I was like, I feel like a lot of what I was saying in that episode, I stand on everything I'm saying, but I do kind of feel like it could come across as me being like, this is what I expect in a friend, and I'm a great friend, and this is da-da-da. And yes, again, I stand on those things, but I also have been a bad friend.
Yeah.
I've been a bad friend. I've made a lot of mistakes in friendship, and I think that's what has helped me become a better friend now, because now I'm like, oh, I would never do that today, you know?
Sure.
So I thought it would be nice if we could talk about just mistakes that we've made in friendship and how that has helped us become a better friend today.
Yeah.
You want to start?
Oh, you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. I think when I was like really reflecting on this, which I think is a key point of this entire topic, is like, it's okay. At least I've learned it's okay to make mistakes in friendship. And maybe sometimes that means a friendship ends, or you have a break in the friendship, or maybe you come back together. But like, it's okay for that to happen as long as you're reflecting on it and you're like looking inward and you're trying to be better for whatever comes next, whether it's a new friendship or maybe a new chapter of that other friendship. So like for me, when I was really thinking about these things, I'm like, wow, okay, I have grown in a lot of ways since I've made these mistakes. Like one, for example, was I think I didn't meet people where they were. Like I really considered my feelings and how I was being impacted and maybe what this meant to me. But I maybe didn't consider the impacts that things were having on them. And I know that sounds really self-centered, but I think when you're like a 21-year-old girl in college, or like for me, for example, like I was playing volleyball and I had school and I had all this stuff. Like, I think that it's easy to be like, to take things personally and to not have an understanding of maybe what the other person is going through. So I think in hindsight, I've grown so much. I'm so much older than the times when this was happening in my life. But I think that like I really have taken into account like how the other person feels or where they're at, or maybe like they just aren't a vulnerable person and they can't get to where I want them to be in the conversation I was hoping to have, and like having some level of empathy and understanding for that. So real.
And I think we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's not even selfish. It's just like we're living in a certain way and we might not have the emotional maturity to understand that not everybody sees things the way we do. And just like understanding that we all have different ways of showing love and receiving love.
Right.
So you might be thinking like, why can't this person be vulnerable with me? But maybe that's just not what they like to do at all.
Exactly.
And then
you don't know how.
Yeah. I think all these mistakes, the ones that I'm going to talk about, I think it's also part of, like you're saying, being in your 20s, you know, and like growing as a human, going through different things, learning more about yourself. Because honestly, the biggest mistake for me.
Yeah. What is that?
Is I failed to communicate. As a whole, my biggest mistake in friendship has been not communicating properly. And so breaking that down, I feel like the moments when I've been a bad friend is because I didn't communicate what I was actually going through, and I was not in a good place whatsoever. Therefore, I was showing up poorly. So I was constantly bailing on plans. I would text back here and there. It was inconsistent, and I hate that. I don't like that. I was literally like a fuck boy with, you know what I mean? Like
friends.
I was kind of like here and there, and like sometimes I would answer, sometimes I wouldn't. We would make a plan. I would bail last minute and then like not explain myself, you know, and then I just wasn't being honest about what I was actually going through. And this was really after college, I want to say, like 24, 25, 26 were like my hardest years, which if you watched me on, like, if you saw my life from the outside and I just showed you like the highlights, I was going out all the time. I was having so much fun. Like, it looked really pretty and it looked really nice. But I inside was almost like one of the lowest moments of my life because I hadn't properly grieved my dad's death at all. Mm-hmm. And also it was like the worst point with my eating disorder, but I was not sharing any of it. And
even to the closest people around you?
No, like my closest friends, there are a few of them like that would say little comments, but I would not be open about it. I didn't want to talk about it. I would just isolate, or when I would show up, I was fun and I was great. But then like you would never know when you were going to see me again, kind of thing.
Right.
And there's like a few friends in particular where I wasn't great. And I still feel bad about it to this day because I'm in my head, I'm like, I would never do that now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I would never do that now. I think it's a mix of understanding that like confrontation or communication doesn't mean that the world's going to end. For some reason, that's always been my mindset, is like, oh my God, I don't want to bring this up because then what if and it's like, no, communication is, people appreciate that so much. And no communication leaves all the room for assumptions, for resentment, for confusion. And so with, a few friends, it was like time and time again that I would just like disappoint them. Mm-hmm. And what they probably don't know, or maybe did, I don't know, is like I was disappointing myself a million times more because I knew how shitty I was being. So I was not only being shitty to them, but I was being the worst to myself because I was in like such a hole. But that's not fair to like, just because I was struggling doesn't mean it's right to like do that to people that I loved,
Yeah.
And I think it was like a mixture of a ton of things, all of that. And then I think it was just like one too many times where those friendships, like I think there's like two in particular in my head that I can think about that it was just too much, and like at some point it was like it just dissolved, not in a harmful way, not in a bad way whatsoever. And towards the end I was more honest of like, I'm going through like hell,
Yeah.
But I still like it's taken me a long time to forgive myself because I hate letting people down. Like I hate letting people down. And I knew that I was doing it, but I couldn't help it. Like if you've ever experienced an eating disorder, you know that when you're going through it at the worst time, it is truly all consuming. You can't think of anything else. Like there is literally no room in your life for anything else. And it makes you, at least it made me act in ways that I would never act now because I felt so like shameful. I also was just like isolating. I didn't want to eat in front of anybody. I didn't want to do any single plan that I felt like would deviate from like the rules that I had set for myself. Like I was just so rigid. My life was being controlled by other things.
Right.
So I showed up poorly and I hate that. And then once I went to therapy for my eating disorder, we like explored all of this.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of work on forgiveness, like on self-forgiveness for me, because my therapist was like, you can't keep punishing yourself for this.
You did the best you could with what you had.
I know. And I still try to say that to myself now, but it's just like, I wish now that I could sit with them and be like, listen, let me tell you what like every single thing that I was going through and why I acted the way I acted. But it's like, I think sometimes we will just kind of be the villain in someone's story, and that's okay. And I've had to learn how to just like be more compassionate with myself now, years later, being like, listen, I know that I acted less than perfectly. I try my very best to not do that now. I've learned so much, but I hate that like I acted that way.
But hear me out. Maybe that needed to happen in order for you to be the person you are today. I know that sounds so cliche, but I think that about a lot of things, like things, especially that society deems shameful, or like mistakes that we've made. Like even the word mistake, like admitting that you made a mistake can have so much shame to it. But like there are so many things that have happened to me or I've created for myself that are negative, but really have helped me enter whatever next chapter there is. So like, I mean, I understand you feeling like hurt, and like, especially because you don't want to let people down, but you really did the best that you could in the situation that you had. And And obviously, like the fact that we're reflecting on it kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning. Like you wouldn't do that. You learned from it. Yeah. And I think that's like something that, especially if you're a young person listening to this, if you're in your 20s, if you're in your teens, all those ages where things feel so charged and you spend so much more time with your friends, I think that like it's okay to realize that mistakes are going to happen and then like you can grow from it and things can be better on the other side from it.
I just beat myself up so much because I'm like, had I communicated, maybe they would still be in my life, you know? And I mean, here's the thing. When I say this to like my bestest friend, she's like, listen, yes, you could have done better. Sure. But she's like, but there are also a lot of things that she was like, I don't think you've sometimes felt like you could share those things. You know what I mean? Like,
were you sharing them with your mom?
No.
Were you sharing them with your therapist? You were barely probably admitting them to yourself.
No, yeah, I wasn't sharing it to anyone, but she was like, you guys also, she helps me see things from a more holistic perspective where she's like, I understand that you could have done better, but she's like, but I also don't think necessarily that you and these friends were as compatible as you might think. And that's also been a hard lesson for me, is like, just because you're really close to someone during one season of your life doesn't mean that you're going to be super close forever. And that,
say it louder.
It's so hard though, because I'm like, but you were one of the most important people in my life during this period. And now like we can't seem to make it work, you know? And I think one of the things that I wish we talked more about is just female friendship. Unfortunately, it's not always going to be forever.
What do they say? There's like a cycle of like 7 years that you stay with friends. Like typically, sure, we all have these like lifelong friends. I have them, you have them. But like, if you look at all the friends you've had across the board, especially in your adult life, I feel like there's these cycles of the chapter that you're in, the job you're in, the location, like proximity is so important.
Yeah.
Whatever is going on behind the scenes in life, like the happy moments, the like difficult moments, like, I don't know, grief brings you close to people. That happened to me where I like distanced myself from some people and I got closer to others after that happened. So like, yeah, I mean, I think it's okay if friendships kind of fade away. That sounds so bleak, but that's what happens with growth. It's the same thing as any other relationship, you know? Like, do you want to be with your high school boyfriend still? I don't. Sorry.
Would rather lay in the street. I actually, to your point, and I think also I think another, I don't know if it's a mistake, but another realization that I had is sometimes I felt like I was giving my all to a certain friend and that wasn't enough for her, but that's all that I could give in that moment.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I punished myself a lot for that because I was like, fuck, like I feel like no matter what I do, I'm always just still disappointing this person.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We're both right. She can be okay with not accepting what I'm giving and wanting more. That's fine. But she can want more. And I also can be not able to give that to her. It doesn't mean we're both bad people. It just means clearly this is not compatible because I'm giving you everything I have and that's not enough for you, but I don't have anything else to give.
And isn't that just centered around expectations? And then what I said at the beginning of like meeting people where they are.
Exactly.
It's like, I think if you can communicate to your point of like, this is where I am and this is where I'm feeling disappointed and vice versa, at least like it's all out there. It's on the table and you can figure out, do we want to continue with this? Are we both feeling fulfilled from this relationship if we understand where the other person is at? Maybe not, maybe yes.
And I think something that I had to understand as well that my therapist helped me understand is I would tell her, I'm like, I just was such a bad friend. I was such a bad friend with these specific ones that I'm talking about. Yeah. And she was like, you weren't a bad friend. You were in survival mode. And sometimes when people pull away from you, it's not that they're rejecting you. It's that they're literally in survival mode. But of course, if we don't know what's going on, that's the problem. We're going to take it personally and we're going to be like, damn, like I'm trying everything. And this person just keeps kind of being flaky and not being consistent. And it's like, sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes they are they're living hell.
Yeah.
But that's, again, see, it's like both sides. Like, that's fair that you're experiencing hell. Not that fair, but like, I don't want you to, but like fair that that's where you're at. But I'm not a mind reader. So if I don't know that you're experiencing that, how am I supposed to show up for you? It's such a
It is. It's a catch-22 because you really can't win. But I think if you spend enough time with someone and like, I know this about you now because I think we're similar in this way of like the retracting when things are difficult for us or like not sharing information. And I think for me, my friends have come to realize that that happens, and they will continue to show up, but in minor ways, because it's like, if you ask me too much, then now I'm really never answering your phone
Sometimes
call.
I feel like when I'm with you, it's a mirror.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
totally.
How do I look today? Like, we're doing literally the same.
But because I understand your like feeling. For me, I just need to figure it out within myself before I can let other people help me figure it out. So with that being said, my friends have had to learn that, but that's what happens with friendship. You have to learn what the other person needs or wants. It's, again, love languages, just like every other kind of relationship, just like every other dynamic with the people that you have in your life. So I think that, to your point of feeling, I don't know, like regret over what you did, like, maybe, I mean, there were probably points where they could have read the room and seen, okay, she's retracting and she's going and she's doing all these things that like she does when she's having a difficult time. Yeah. So like, I think you also need to keep your eyes and ears open for how your friends operate.
Yeah. It's something that has been so hard for me is understanding that me communicating is not a burden. My friends want to be there. And it's my brain always. Like, all the rules apply to everybody but me. Like, I would be so upset if my friend went through something and didn't tell me. I'd be like, bitch, what the fuck? Why didn't you tell me? But then I don't share when I'm struggling. So, and that's still a constant for me. Yeah. And to your point, my friends also know that now and they work around it. And I so appreciate that. And I'm always telling them, like, I love you. And like, I'm so sorry that I isolated, because it does feel personal to like sometimes. And I'm like, I promise you it's not. Like, now they know. But I think also the more work that I've done with myself, the better friend I have become. And so that's where I try to not punish myself so much for those moments where I might have not been a great friend, because I'm like, but I was, okay, fine. Yeah, I wasn't a great friend, but I was being horrible to myself. Like, I was in a hole. And it's almost like when you're in a relationship, like, how are you going to attract a beautiful, loving relationship if you're not in a beautiful, loving place with yourself? At least in, you know, of course we're always going to be works in progress, but like, do you know what I mean? I think sometimes we attract who we are. And I was trying so hard to give and give and give. And I'm like, dude, I can't. So I would always, you know, I showed up poorly, but I'm trying to forgive. Like, I have forgiven myself for not being great, because now when I think about everything that I was going through at the time, I'm like, fuck, like, I don't even know how I was, you know, like it truly was horrible. And I did it alone. Yeah. Not because I had to. My Capricorn ass thinks that when I walk into heaven, God is going to be like, here's a gold star. Like, good job. You did everything alone. You did it all by yourself. I don't know why I think that. I have like a praise kink. Have you heard of that? Like in middle school, when they would give me like, you know, like 5 stars or whatever, I would, dude, like cloud 9. Like, nothing made me happier than when someone was like, you're doing great. Well, probably because you want to be the unproblematic daughter that's doing like no like difficulty for your parents and keep everything. I mean, same. Which goes back to not communicating and being afraid of like confrontation in a way. Cause I'm like, I don't want to tell anybody that I'm struggling. I don't want anyone to have to hear my problems. Disappointing people. I want to be the one that helps them with their problems. I don't want them to have to sit there and figure out my problem. Like, it's like, so tired. I know. And like, this sparked something for me, this conversation, because when I went through a divorce, I probably told like all of 3 total people until I was like, it's final. No. Like, I was like moved out. I was like living a whole other life, and my friends and even people at work were like, had no idea. And it was so much so, not because I felt like shame in my decision or like, I just like didn't want to explain myself to people. Like, I didn't want to have to like confront the conversations. Like, I didn't want to have the conversations, not because of my own choices, but more so, again, like, I didn't want people to have to be like, oh, Angie, I'm so sorry. Like, poor thing. Like, is it okay? Why don't we think that we're worthy of that? I don't know, because I call my mom 300 times a day and I'm like, Mom, like, and she gives me that. So like, I don't even do that. Really? Well, that's different because I feel like I'm my mom's rock.
Okay, that's fair.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's fair.
And also I love her to death. And I always say this to her, like, she doesn't give me the best advice. Like, it's so interesting. She's like the best human in the whole world. She wouldn't hurt a fly. She's like, I could not love somebody more. But like with advice, sometimes it takes her like a bit to get there. You know what I mean? Like I'll be like, oh, I saw this really cute, like yesterday. I'm like, oh my God, I saw this really cute guy at church. I have a church crush. And she's like, did you go up and say hi? I'm like, are you insane?
She doesn't get the time.
You know what I mean? Or I'm like, oh, I can't tell her if a friend hurts me because then she'll be like, see, that's a horrible I'm like, mommy, there's nuance to this.
Nuance.
Like I've also fucked up too. Your daughter's not perfect. Let me blow your mind. But like, you know, so, or like if I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I should, I don't know. She just, I think it's a generational thing. Sure. Maybe. Sure. You know? And I just feel also like I'm sometimes the one, like her emotional support. So she's not my emotional support.
All of this, Lisa, even with our friends, even what you just said about your mom, all of this comes back to like burdening people with us. Yeah. Which I don't know. Like, I don't know why I feel like I am worthy of people's care and attention and like love and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like, I think my brain is just wired to be like, okay, I can figure this out. Like I can do literally anything.
Has this changed being in a healthy, loving relationship? Do you feel like you can lean on that person with everything?
Oh, yeah, but only recently. Like only recently have I kind of taken a step back, done like so much work in therapy and been like, okay, wait, why do I find myself in these relationships where I am not expecting the same thing that I'm giving? And it's like, that can go for friendship. That can go for like a romantic relationship. It can go for family dynamics.
We're the fucking same.
We are the same. But this is only like a new thing for me where I'm like, oh, okay, this actually can be a safe place. If I share that I feel like this and I expect for the other person to like make me feel the same way. But I also need to not feel disappointed if I don't get that. Like, I think a lot of this too is me trying to avoid being disappointed. Yeah. I don't want to get my hopes up. So it's like, I want everyone to think I'm good and like, Angie's so good and easygoing and la 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 la. Like, she's so fun and like always a good time. Yeah. And then it's like, and I don't want people to think I'm difficult. And
same.
But like, I allow people to do all of that to me and I don't require the same feedback. Like,
so how are you rewriting this now? This narrative?
Girl, honestly.
Like exposure work?
Exposure work. Literally just communicating every single thing and feeling like, and like taking the, like there is no risk anymore. Like what's the risk? A breakup? Like a friendship breakup? A romantic breakup? I've been divorced. I got a lot of exes, like, you know, like whatever. Don't care about that anymore. And it's like at this point, I just feel like I need to say how I feel. I need to address specifically being a people pleaser because I think much to like your point of in your family dynamic, like I too felt like, okay, if I get good grades, if I'm good at volleyball, if I do all of these things that make me like, I'm a good kid. And then like, and then if I go to college and I get this great job, like all of this just makes me an easy kid. And I kind of grew up in a chaotic household with like not bad chaos, but like my mom didn't work and she has a bunch of siblings. So all my cousins were at our house all the time and they're all boys and they're all older than me. And there just was like this dynamic of like, for a long time, Angie is the youngest and like Angie's crying, Angie's whatever. Like there was this like little chapter of my life where I was difficult. So then I essentially like rewrote that in my history and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be difficult. I'm going to be like extremely nice, easygoing. Yeah. And only recently have I realized like, wait, it's okay to share how you feel and be quote unquote difficult. Like if I don't want to do something, it's okay to say you don't want to do something. If someone loves you, if someone cares about you, they can accept that or they can have a conversation about it. But it's taken me a lot to learn how to communicate that.
This is one of my biggest struggles to date.
Yeah.
I haven't even figured out how to let a man into my life. So that like we're still kind of figuring out. But with friends, I have clearly had the hardest time just being open about. And here's the thing, you don't have to tell your friends everything if you don't want to. I also think for me, it's like life has thrown really heavy shit my way.
You can't do anything.
I can't do anything. I just have to deal with it and like take it one day at a time because everything changes all the time. But so something that I have had to learn is fine. I don't have to share the whole picture, but like it's my friends want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, one of my best friends, Emily, she always says this to me and I've learned so much from her because she has so much emotional maturity. She's so grounded. She is just a really great person. And it really makes sense once I met her parents and her family. Like she has such a beautiful family. Her parents are like the warmest people. I love them. She's always the first one to remind me like, hey, I know you're struggling because you can tell if I'm like, you know, ghosting and being a little fuck boy. And she's like, I know that things are hard right now. Just here to remind you that you don't have to carry it by yourself. Sometimes that's literally sometimes all you need. Because then it helps me put my guard down because my guard is always fucking up. It does not know how to come down. So I can't even tell you how many times she's had to say that to me and she knows that I need the reminder and she always says it to me. And sometimes after she says that to me, sometimes I won't, it's not like I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And then I tell her everything, but it's just, it makes me feel seen. And she has just helped me understand that communicating actually brings so much closeness and it's not going to, I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but I think she just has helped me understand that I don't have to carry everything alone. And there are going to be those people that are going to remind me of that whenever I need it.
And in a low pressure way.
Exactly.
So just a simple, I miss you, or just checking in, or, hey, I know you're having a tough time and like you can talk to me about it, but no pressure. Like I think that kind of helps if you have a friend that distances themselves during difficult times. I think the low pressure aspect makes it less threatening. Like I don't know about you,
Absolutely.
But that makes me more apt to pick up the phone or to respond and be like, yeah, I am having a hard time, but like, thanks for texting me. Even if I'm not sharing the full picture or like opening up completely, I think that it's like a little warm hug that makes a difference, especially if you're at a really low point.
She's also shown me a lot about forgiveness because, for example, I was going through a really bad period last year, right before her bachelorette, but I wasn't telling anybody. Like it was nothing new. It was the same issue with my sister, but it started affecting me a lot physically. Like I started feeling it's crazy how tied our body is like emotionally and chemically and everything. Like when you're too stressed, like you might start seeing that physically. And that's what was happening to me. But I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Like I had never experienced panic attacks like that. And I was just going through it. But I didn't want to say anything to anybody because I was just trying to pretend like everything was fine. Yeah. And I also am like, I'm just so sick of this situation taking away from moments in my life. It's always taking moments away from me. And so sometimes I try to fight it, but I was like, again, it was just a bad few weeks. And I was going to the doctor trying to get checked because I was like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, is this my anxiety? But like physically it was showing up to the point where the day before her bachelorette, I was not okay. Like physically I was not okay. I felt like I was having probably like 3 or 4 panic attacks a day.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like paralyzing to the point where I was like, and I didn't know what was going on. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was like, what the fuck is wrong? Like, I don't get it.
Which only exacerbates it probably.
It was, oh my God, it was so bad, Angie. I can't even explain to you. And then I was like drowning inside because I was like, fuck, like, I feel like I'm going to show up at this bachelorette. I'm not going to be my best self. I was like, I'm not even going to drink because I was so scared. I'm like, I don't know what is going on. Like the way that I feel is terrifying me. I was Googling like hospitals near Tulum because that's where we were going. And I was like, just in case. The day that I was supposed to fly out, I went to the emergency room because I was like, I'm not okay. Like something is fucking wrong. Like I was like shaking. I felt like I was going to faint. I was lightheaded. I couldn't breathe. My heart was going 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I was like just waking up, like no coffee or anything. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I went to the ER. I was so upset. They did like an EKG and he was like, your results are irregular. Like you need to get this checked now. And I was like, what? I'm supposed to go to the airport in like an hour. Spray tan, nails done, packed. I'm ready. I go to the airport. And I'm like in line in security and I'm like, I'm literally going to pass out. I called one of my best friends crying and I'm like, can you come get me? Like, I can't do this. She picked me up. I went back home, booked a flight to go home, left that night to Costa Rica. And then I was there for like 2 weeks. And then we found out it was like panic disorder or something. Like they have a name for it. But my whole point is she had no idea what was going on. So I'm leaving the airport and I'm literally like, I'm so scared to tell her because I'm like, what the fuck? Like how, like I feel like the worst person in the world. And so I like voice noted her. I was like, they were all landing. They were all landing and I was the last one there. It was horrible. And I voice noted her and I'm like, dude, I haven't said anything because I just was trying to pretend like everything was fine. But I have been feeling so bad these last few days. I went to the hospital this morning. They said my results were irregular. I'm like going home tonight. Of course she was understanding. Like she was like, oh my God, like I love you. I hope you're okay. Like I hope everything is fine.
Right.
And then it was one of the worst weeks ever. Like I felt so bad. And I'm like, why didn't I say what I was going through? And then we talked about it, obviously. And she was like, I just would have like, I just didn't know. Like, I didn't know that you weren't okay. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, why didn't I just say it? You know what? It's like, I've learned so much and I'm still learning all the time. And that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this because I'm a bad friend sometimes.
We all are bad friends, but I think that story specifically, like at times we all can be bad friends, but that story specifically highlights that if you have a strong enough bond and if you communicate how you're feeling, your friend that you've like gone through so much with is going to forgive you and is going to understand, even if it's not as severe of a circumstance. Like that's, of course, Emily, she's not a monster. She's going to be like, yeah, your health is more important than taking shots on a boat with me. Like,
but imagine if I would have been honest weeks before being like, hey, I'm feeling off. I'm feeling weird. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I think, imagine if I would have just opened up that dialogue, everything would have been so much easier. Maybe I would have.
Life is messy.
I know.
Like, we're just figuring this out day by day. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, you were doing, honestly, the best you could with what you had.
Yeah.
And like, this just highlights what it means to have a good friend to help you realize like, okay, I was doing the best that I could. And it's okay that I didn't show up for this life event. Like the world is still going to go on. She's still going to have a happy marriage. You guys are still going to have a great friendship because you did eventually open up with her.
I hope everyone has a friend that shows them like how beautiful forgiveness is.
Yes.
Because then it also makes you feel safe to fuck up and know, like, we're not going to be perfect. It's going to happen again, like you're going to make a mistake again. Like we're all imperfect. I think it's only brought me closer to people when maybe they've done something or I've done something and then we have a conversation about it. We show each other love. We show each other support. We show each other understanding. And then you move on.
And it just, again, like if you can't move on from that, then you've at least learned something from it. I don't know. That's at least how I look at it with friendships that have gone our separate ways. It's like that kind of moment of like intensity or of like seeing each other fully gives you the opportunity to either be like, this is something I want to continue investing in, or it's not.
I also think friendship is not made in the big moments.
Little moments.
It's not only made in the big moments. Friendship is not just about your wedding day and your birthday. Friendship is, I'm crying at the airport, come pick me up. Mm-hmm. I got into a fight with this stupid man that I'm talking to. Come over and let's order food. Friendship is, oh, I can tell you're having a bad day. I'm going to send you a little Starbucks. Actually, fuck Starbucks. I'm going to send you a little coffee to your door. Friendship is voice notes during the day. Friendship is a little meme that made me think of you. Friendship is all of the, like, going through a bad time, maybe a bad season together. It's not just the wedding day. You know what I mean? Like, it's not made up in just these big, grand moments. You know?
I 100% agree. And I think that, like, if you look at the strongest relationships in your life, at least for me, it is a culmination of all those small moments that makes me feel safe to call upon somebody when I really need them in the big moments. Even if it's like, I mean, if it's a celebratory time or if it's a difficult time. I think that, like, I also have this thing about female friendships where it's like, I could call, specifically my friend Ruthie, I could call her crying over the same thing 300 times and she's still going to show up the same way. There's like a consistency that that makes it where it is a comfortable, safe place no matter the circumstances. And that, I don't know, like makes for like longevity, I think.
Those are the best friends. I'm sorry. Like, it's like when my friends are like, oh, sorry, can I be annoying? And I'm like, I was put on this earth for you to be annoying.
Annoy me.
I want you to annoy me all fucking day long.
I'm going to make fun of whoever he is, and we're going to call him his name that his nickname that he deserves. But yes,
like, why is this short king texting you?
Yeah. Why is Burger King guy texting you?
My best friend, some days she is, you know, she always says I'm her therapist, and I don't. That's an honor. It's a privilege and an honor.
Yeah.
And some days I'm like, how are you doing today? Like, you've been a little quiet. And she's like, oh my God, today I've been struggling so much, but I didn't want to bother you. So I've been using ChatGPT. And I'm like, I'm so fucking offended. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but
I was put on this earth for you to be annoying. And I'm that friend. Like, I am that friend. And most of my best friends are this way as well, where I will go through that same scenario with you 37 times as often as we need to. And if you find a different way that we can look at that scenario, we'll do it a 38th time too.
Yeah.
Happily. Like, that's what it's about.
That's what it's about. And that's the only way, at least for me, that I have been able to get through things. Especially, I don't know about you, but like with grief or like breakups or whatever, there's like these little moments that are they're seemingly meaningless, but those are the times I specifically find myself, you know, when like little things, like if a song comes on and you're like, my God, or like if you just, social media is the death of all of us when it comes to like these kinds of things where you see everybody having happy times or you see your ex on there or whatever. And it's like gives you a pit and like just being able to write to your friend and be like,
LOL,
help. Like SOS.
Or like, he's balding, it's fine.
Yes, exactly. Like those kinds of things. It's like, that is the support that we need.
Honestly, here's one thing about me, okay? I love to talk shit. And I think it's a rite of passage. I think it's a part of life. There's a difference between talking shitty about someone and just talking shit.
Right.
They're different things. I'm not sitting here like making fun of somebody. I'm not sitting here talking badly about the people that I love. No, but I might be talking shit about the guy that didn't answer you. And I'm going to talk shit about him with you. And we're going to do that. We're going to laugh and then you're going to feel better and we're going to move about our day.
God forbid a girl have a public service announcement, you know?
Like, God forbid I am a comedian and I'm doing community service with my friends.
God forbid I help my friend when she's down by making fun of her ex's hairline.
But wait, I love this. Okay, let's wrap this up on a positive note.
Okay.
I want you to finish the sentence.
Okay.
The mistakes I've made in friendship have helped me
show up better as myself and for my friends in the good and bad times.
Period.
There you go. The mistakes I've made in friendship have helped me
understand that I'm worthy of the same love that I give.
Oh. I love you. Love you.